Hi everybody, hi. This live is all about why some people can feel completely opposing emotions for the same situation. So for example, someone can feel really excited about any event that's coming up. And another person could feel really nervous and anxious about it. And it's the same event and it's going to progress the same way. It's almost like the cup half full, the cup half empty for exactly the same situation. And what I want to explore is not only how it is that two or many more than two people could have differing perceptions of the same thing, but can we change it? Can we turn it around? Can we make it more positive? So the first thing is to understand how the information gets into our heads, and how then a perception's made, and then whether or not we can change it. So millions, about 11 million bits of information are flooding us from our environment every second. So that's a huge amount of information. So we're getting it through our senses, our five senses, mainly through the eyes actually. Lots and lots of information, about a tenth of the information that comes through the eyes, about a similar amount or just slightly less through the skin, and then the rest through our other senses of smell and taste and hearing. And of those 11 million pieces, we really can't deal with that amount. We have to get rid of a significant amount, otherwise we just couldn't live, could we? We'd just be zombies because we'd just be flooded with information. We couldn't actually do much with it because we'd just be having this literal sensory overload. So we whittle it down for practical reasons so that we don't have to think about 11 million things all in one go. It might feel like sometimes we are thinking about 11 million things in one go, but we need to filter it out. And so we filter it down to sort of like 50 to, different psychologists disagree on these numbers, but around about 50 to 100 bits of information per second. So if you think about, that 11 million, let's say, that we started off with, and we get down to about 50 bits of information, then we've lost 10,999,950 bits of information, which is almost everything. We've cut it out. So we're not really aware of a tremendous amount that's going on around us because we just kind of chuck it out. And we process those things, but we still can't think of 50 things or be consciously aware of 50 things going on per second. So we chunk it down, and we chunk it in our short-term memory to about 5 to 9 pieces of information. And 5 to 9, in the middle of that is 7. And you'll notice now if I tell you, lots of let's think campaigns or these quizzes on Facebook might ask you to name seven of your favourite films, 7 chocolate bars. This magic number 7, that tends to be what most people can deal with. And you could reel off, I think I could reel off probably more than 7 chocolate bars, but you can reel off an average of about 7 of something that you can pay attention to. If you're not paying attention, if it's something that doesn't interest you or you're tired, then you're not going to be paying attention to very much at all. So we filtered. Let's think how we filtered then. We filtered in lots of different ways. So one way is that we generalise. So we make big sweeping statements. That always happens. That never happens. It's always bad for me. And you hear it in people's language. It's quite interesting when you hear it. When you know about it, you start picking up on it. Always. You always do that. Always? 100% of the time? Really? And so we generalise. So we'll take some information in and we'll say, let's say we were in a riding situation. I never win. I'm always nervous. My horse always acts up. And you've cut out all the times that things went well. Second thing that we do is we delete. We just chuck things out. And a lot of people, in fact most people, will delete all the good stuff. And just delete it. They'll think it's fluke, or, I was lucky that time. And I only won because it was a small class. And they delete all the good stuff really naturally and really quickly. And then we distort. We get things out of proportion. So things that are really tiny, little teeny tiny things that maybe go wrong become massive, huge, great calamities. And things that, are really, really big, like the fact that, maybe it was your first competition in ages, or perhaps you haven't got on your horse for ages and you've done it. These things are really big, we make them really small. And we say, well, we should be able to do that anyway. So we delete, we distort, and we generalise. And by the time we've done that, we've not got a lot of information left, but it goes through a load of other filters. And we filter based on almost like personal filters then, our beliefs. And it could be a belief that you've held forever, whether you're good enough, you're not good enough. It could be positive beliefs about, it could be something that you truly do believe in. You believe in yourself. You'll filter on memories. Has anything ever happened to you like this before? Yes or no. You'll filter out based on that. You'll filter out on things that you like. So you'll chuck out stuff you don't like. You'll filter on things that are important to you. And you'll filter on things like attitudes as well. So it goes through so much processing per second. It's hard to believe that we are able to compute all of this automatically, that our brains are doing this. But it does mean that we've chopped and changed the information around. So we've got, not even bare bones, is it? It's just a few bits and bobs here and there from the millions of pieces of information. So how can we really know what's going on? And when you think about it, I often wonder how on earth you can find your way home when you've chucked out so much information. It's quite unbelievable that we can still operate, basically living with such paltry information. And we go around and we think that we know what's happening and how it really is. And we have no idea, really have no idea. So greatly reduced information. Now, these two people that we're talking about, cup half full, cup half empty, the excited person, the nervous person, they're simply filtering very, very differently. And they might do it naturally, or do you know what? You can learn to filter positively or learn to filter negatively. You can pick it up from other people. You can pick it up from the people that you're with a lot of the time. You can pick it up from social media. You can pick it up from anywhere. You can change all of your attitudes and beliefs and your filtering system anytime you want, and you can do it in a positive way or in a negative way. So, you could ask somebody just to watch filtering in action. Maybe you've got a sibling that you could ask about something that you both remember from childhood, maybe a special occasion, and ask them what they think about it or how it was. What do they remember about it? And it's quite interesting that they usually remember details that you don't remember, or they'll skew it some other different way, that it was much better than it was, or it wasn't quite as good as you remember it. And, all that's happened is that you've just filtered completely differently. So if you don't tell somebody what you're doing, but you allow them to tell you what this event was like, you'll find really vastly different stories. And you might even have a friend. I have a really good friend, my best friend, who, until I'd learned NLP, I always thought she embellished a story because she's a really good storyteller. And she made everything that we went through together sound absolutely amazing. Even the most ordinary night that we went out together would be absolutely phenomenal. And I used to just think that she did it on purpose, that she put all this fantastic stuff in. But obviously what she was doing was filtering incredibly positively, and maybe I was a little bit more neutral about things. So you can actually choose how you filter, which is the good thing. Some people are kind of astonished by that because they think that they're kind of fixed in place. And that their attitudes and their filtering system is very much non-changeable, but it is completely changeable. Every single filter of all the ones that I mentioned can be changed. And sometimes it only takes changing one filter that can change your whole perspective and attitude. So you really do have a choice here on how you do filter. And the choice is all about what you focus on, and it's all about your attention. And obviously you're doing it with awareness at the start until it becomes more and more automatic. But if you're focusing on the good, if you're focusing on what went well, and forget the rest, who cares? You know, it may be one thing that went well and 10 things that didn't. Focus on the one thing that went well. And it's by practicing that, the attention, putting the attention onto the good and the positive, that kind of sways us over to being a cup half full type of person and seeing things a bit more clearly in terms of the positivity. And it gets easier as you do that. It gets easier and easier. So if we have this ability to change our minds, I suppose the next question is, or the next statement, if you like, is, are we then responsible for the way that we filter? And that's quite a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's great to think it's all changeable and I can change and I can, start to see things more positively. I can start to get rid of nervousness or any other kind of negative emotion. But when you truly think about it on a deeper level, that, if you can change, then it's your responsibility to have the filters that work for you. And sometimes that's news that people don't want to hear, and people don't want to take that responsibility, and that is kind of like a story for another session. But once you take that responsibility, once you place your focus on the more positive aspects, then your filters will naturally change. And that's an interesting thing to think about. I will see you all next week. Post any questions in the comments and I will get them answered for you. I will see you next week then. Take care for now. Bye.